Kyle, aside from graduating this year, what stood out to you about the fiscal outlook and what may be coming down the road?
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I think one of the big headlines from this year that was really notable is how old Congress is, and I think it ties really well into what Bob and Tori said earlier about how unproductive Congress has been, not just on the debt and deficit front, but we're talking historically unproductive. They're on track to be the least productive Congress in the last 30 years. So it's really important to consider that when you're thinking about if we want to actually get things done and make tough choices. We need to think about who is making these decisions. I think it was either Chris or Phil that mentioned, the disproportionate effect that the debt and deficit issues are going to have on my generation and younger people in general. We need those people in the room making decisions. As Chris mentioned, the Fiscal Commission is being spearheaded by those younger individuals in Congress, at least relatively. And those are the people who are going to make the tough choices actually engage with a dialogue that might make real change, whether it be on a fiscal commission or otherwise. Because if you're in, my position or even people older than me in our position as younger people, the outlook over the next 60 years, not only for the debt and deficit, but for climate change, global politics, the trends don't look great. So having these younger people in the room to help make really important decisions about where our country's trajectory is going to allow us to make tough choices that maybe an older Congress isn't willing to make or doesn't feel the urgency to make because of their position.
If you find some concern about climate change and its economic and fiscal impacts.
Yeah, this is not the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last time that I'll talk about climate change on the show. But I think the important thing is that these two issues can be really intertwined. We've talked about a lot of really daunting challenges on this episode, but I think it's important to know that, you can bring solutions together that help mitigate a lot of long-term problems. When you're talking about climate change and natural disasters, if you put in the investment now to mitigate those effects and try and reverse the effects of climate change, you are saving money in the long term. You're saving disaster relief money, you're saving reconstruction money, you're saving insurance money, you're saving so many things that, we won't have to spend in the future and therefore hopefully reducing deficit and debt spending. And some of these environmentally friendly projects can also generate revenue in some areas. So I think it's a really unique way to intertwine these two long-term issues that people often have a hard time grappling with or putting together. So if we can bring, the climate change camp and the fiscal responsibility camp together, I think there's can be really impactful long-term solutions.